Unit 6, lesson 2 for December 5th. This is your Thursday lesson. Today you are writing fractions as the product of a unit fraction and their numerators by finding the product of a unit fraction in the whole number. So today we are decomposing fractions by using multiplication. There's a couple questions we're going to ask ourselves today, and we're going to think of each unit fraction as a group and the amount of groups as our whole number. So today, tomorrow, and every day, I can decompose a fraction by multiplying the number of parts, my whole, I'm not gonna call it my whole right now, the number of parts times the unit fraction itself. First, we're gonna identify the original unit fraction. So we'll call it 4/5 for my model right now. Identify the unit fraction, 1/5. Identify how many groups of the unit fraction are in the whole. Sorry guys, there are 4. So identify the original fraction, 4/5. Identify the unit fraction, 1/5. Identify how many groups of the unit fraction are in the whole, 4. And I would write that out as 1/5 plus 1/5 plus 1/5 plus 1/5. 4 groups of 1/5. Then multiply the number of groups or parts times the unit fraction. This seems really procedural right now, so I want to come and check back here. I can decompose a fraction of its product of its numerator and its unit fraction. I can also find the product of the unit fraction and its whole number. Let's stick with this right now. All right, so then when we get to here, how is this multiplication sentence similar to the one I wrote for Annabeth? 7 groups of 1/8. We're gonna use a lot of labeling today to make sure we reinfuse that. Here, kids need to be able to see first all of the jazz you normally do, but your girl Annabeth thinks 7/8 equals 1/8. This is based on yesterday, which is really nice. So you'll have a visual anchor up already that has some of these numbers on it, 5, 6, 7. Or, who is it, Emilio? Emilio, yeah. Emilio thinks that we can use multiplication. And so we always think of multiplication as groups with an amount in each group. So let's start circling. How many groups do I have? 7. What's my amount in each group? 1/8. Why is 7 groups of 1/8 7/8? Because I have 7 of them, and 7 1/8 added together gives me 7/8. When we are multiplying fractions, we are thinking about how many equal groups we have of it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and what's in each group, rather than and which is why the numerator only changes, because we're actually adding them together. The amount of parts in our whole doesn't change. We need kids to understand that, because as we go through, this is where they need to say 12 times 1/9 equals 12/9. So they need to understand that it's 12 groups. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And in each group, there's 1/9. So I could use repeated addition, 1/9 plus 1/9 plus 1/9. They do want us to use a visual model each and every time, and right now I've been mismodeling that. So it needs to look like that. This one is, if we're working with 9ths, this is going to be the hardest one so far to work with, apart from the 10s. So this is where things get tricky today. Up here, 5, 6. Number label 1, 6 on each of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Easy. And they think of it as 5 times 1, 6. Here, they'll be able to do 10 times 1/8, but they need to recognize they need 8 parts. Am I done? Why or why not? Because I only have 8/8 here. I need to have another 2/8 there, because that gives me 10/8, or 10 times 1/8. Today, the original fraction, identify the original fraction, identify the unit fraction, and identify how many groups of the unit fraction are in the whole. Then either use that to solve with multiplication, thinking of groups times amount in each group to get total, or I think that this is too procedural. Multiply the number of groups times the unit fraction, or use this content knowledge. So this is where you're going today. Remember, you have to prompt kids with, what is the problem asking you to do? How do you know that? What math does that tell you to do? Today it tells me to use multiplication because there's equal groups and amount in each group.